Well, I had a different question, but it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term, because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know, want to call it the super far left, but don't tell me the left
or maybe the super far right.
Well, he's talking about the left.
In a heated exchange, Bill Maher didn't hold back as he challenged the modern use of the term woke. Maher argued that what once symbolized a powerful awareness of racial and social injustice, especially within the black community, has now been hijacked. According to him, woke has drifted far from its roots and morphed into a political buzzword, used more to divide than to unite. He claimed the term has become a weapon in ideological battles, stripped of its original meaning and turned into a lightning rod for controversy. But not everyone agreed. Hostin countered Maher's take, defending the term's origins and continued relevance. He stressed that woke still represents a commitment to justice and social progress, arguing it shouldn't be abandoned just because it's been politicized. This clash revealed a deeper divide, not just about one word, but about how we talk about progress and consciousness in a deeply divided society. And while Maher's criticism struck a nerve, they also opened the door to a broader debate about the future of progressive language in today's culture wars.
Absolutist. You believe totally in the right to say what you believe, but I think a lot of us were disturbed to see terrorist flags being waved on American college campuses and seeing this a generation that some I think genuinely care about the plight of the Palestinians. I think most Americans do, but some who seem to be embracing a terrorist organization over the nation of Israel. What do you make of this moment? What do you think it's a result of? How do we fix it?
Well, I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war is on. I mean, before the war. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values. I mean, women have this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights in this place. And a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. I mean, there is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment.
The LGBTQ community as well.
Yes. That too. But you throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens.
Bill Maher leveled sharp criticism at segments of the political left, accusing them of straying from core liberal values by appearing to support groups whose principles clash with the very ideals they claim to uphold. He pointed specifically to what he sees as an alarming trend. Some leftist voices expressing support, either directly or indirectly, for groups like Hamas. Maher contended that such organizations enforce deeply repressive policies, particularly against women and minorities, and stand in stark opposition to the values of equality and human rights. His concern wasn't merely political, it was ethical. Maher argued that when progressives back movements tied to oppressive ideologies, they'd risk undermining their own credibility and alienating supporters who believe in universal human rights and democratic ideals. In his view, this represents a betrayal of liberalism's legacy, standing against authoritarianism and fighting for freedom everywhere. She called for greater nuance, urging people not to conflate support for Palestinian civilians with endorsement of extremist factions. Hostin emphasized that many progressives champion the rights of innocent people living under occupation, not the actions of militant groups. Her point was clear. The fight for justice must remain focused on human dignity and compassion, and criticism of violent actors shouldn't erase the broader context of suffering and displacement. The disagreement revealed deeper tensions over how values like justice, solidarity, and human rights are interpreted in a complex global landscape.
And that oftentimes when I'm watching the news, I'm only getting portions, because one of the things that happens, I was listening to you talk about, the kids that had the Hamas flags. it reminded me of when people were saying Antifa is there, you know, and doing that. So bad players show up and make stuff happen. But do you find that the view that we're being shown seems to be meant to guide us into thinking about people one way, when in fact it may be a much bigger conversation?
Oh, of course. I mean, the media is always going to just chase what is interesting to watch. I mean, I used to be able to watch the nightly news, for example. I can't do it. I mean, first of all, it should be called, here's some video we found that's fun to watch. That's not the news.
Yeah.
You know, like anything that happens on a plane. Like the plane skidded off the runway, so what? Call me when anybody died, and it's not, the door fell off. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I understand the door falling off, but you don't want to be up in the air.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. That one I needed to know.
Okay.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And then by the time you get to the last segment, it's just, you know, the bears in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
You know, it's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's narrative over truth. You know, I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yep. Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Continuing his fiery commentary, Bill Maher took direct aim at the media, accusing major news outlets of fueling division for profit. He blasted what he sees as a troubling trend: media platforms prioritizing sensationalism over substance, conflict over context. In Maher's view, many mainstream organizations have strayed from the core mission of journalism, informing the public with accuracy, depth, and fairness. Instead, he argued the media often chooses to inflame rather than inform, focusing on outrage-driven stories designed to attract clicks and keep audiences emotionally charged. Maher described this strategy as not just irresponsible, but dangerous, charging that it distorts public understanding by sidelining inconvenient truths that don't fit a chosen narrative. He didn't mince words, accusing media companies of abandoning their watchdog role in favor of becoming entertainment-driven echo chambers. A result, he warned, is a society increasingly gripped by distrust, tribalism, and misinformation. Maher ended with a clear call to action. Media institutions must return to their roots, grounded in truth, transparency, and balance, before the growing rift in public trust becomes irreversible.
We're talking about your new book, which looks at 20 years of your editorials, re-edited and reimagined right in time for Father's Day. What do you want people to take away from reading it?
Yeah.
Well, I think I think we're tribal now, which is not good. And I think there's 4 tribes, basically. There's old school liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives. There's still some of those
You've
left.
changed, though.
Wait, what are the other two?
Well, that's what I was trying to find out in this book. I don't think I have. And, you know, we were saying in the break, we have to come up with a new word for woke. Let's have a contest, because this is a word that's triggering. But, I mean, those concepts that are different than they were 5 years ago. I mean, we used to do, well, you did it. I was a guest on what was the homeless show? Comic Relief.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You were, great show.
Yeah.
And homeless was a term that I thought we kind of came up with, because people were calling them bums and vagrants and hobos.
Now that's
homeless. No.
It's unhoused.
Well, it's people
Unhoused.
experiencing
Now it's
homelessness. But they're experiencing it on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, the liberal view of that was, for compassion's sake, we're the liberals, we're compassionate. Let's get these people off the street.
Yeah.
That's not the view of the, whatever word we're going to come up with for this. Their view of the homeless is they're an endangered species that needs to be protected in their natural habitat, living their best life under a bridge. You know, that to me is crazy. That's the kind of things, I haven't changed on that. I still think we should get these people off the street. That's the compassion sake. So I didn't change.
Bill Maher closed out with a stark reflection on the current state of politics, painting it as a battlefield where loyalty often trumps honest conversation. He laid out what he sees as the 4 major camps shaping today's political climate: classic liberals, traditional conservatives, and 2 newer, more extreme factions that tend to dominate social debates. According to Maher, these newer groups often demand rigid ideological alignment, punishing anyone who dares to challenge the orthodoxy. In his eyes, this shift has led to a toxic environment, one where identity politics and tribalism have replaced curiosity, nuance, and critical thinking. He warned that if society continues down this path, we risk losing the ability to engage in meaningful dialogue, isolating ourselves in echo chambers that deepen division and distort reality. Maher made a passionate appeal for a return to open, respectful debate, where disagreement isn't seen as betrayal and where shared values can still be found beneath the noise. It was a compelling episode of The View, filled with lively discussion and real differences of opinion. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe and support the channel. We've got more thoughtful, engaging content on the way. Thanks for watching.